It is Raiders week. The Browns will head to Las Vegas on Friday, but of course we're starting the week by monitoring injuries, and we will start with the biggest one we're keeping an eye on, Mary Kay. Myles Garrett adding to the foot injuries now. There is a thigh injury, there is an Achilles injury, so another week of kind of wondering if Myles Garrett will get out there, and of course wondering if maybe it might be in Myles' best interests to take a little time off.
Well, it's Myles, so you know that he's not going to do that. They would have to drag him off the field. But watching him walk to the podium and away from the podium the other day, he was in so much pain, and now this explains it. An Achilles injury, that of course can be very, very painful, and they have to hope that it just remains pulled or strained or sore or whatever it is, because you definitely don't want him to have a serious season-ending Achilles injury. The minute I heard that, I was like, what? So this is something to monitor, to keep an eye on, but it looks like, even though he didn't practice today, he should play on Sunday in Las Vegas.
Yeah, Ashley, I think we're sort of programmed. Like, we see the word Achilles and we just get nervous. So obviously that's something you hate to see on any kind of injury report, and especially with a guy like Myles.
Yeah, you do, but I think, again, it's important to remember so much of this, it sounds like right now, goes back to those 2 surgeries he had as a child to fix the issues with his flat feet. And he talked at length the other day about some compensation issues he's been having all throughout his lower body because of that. And I think this is just, again, where we're at with this right now. And I'll be curious to see kind of what the plan is going forward in terms of when's he going to practice? Are they going to decide to shut it down at any point? I mean, I think these are things you can only know by hitting certain checkpoints and going through the season.
I don't think you could pay me enough to be the person to sit across from Myles and say, hey, shut it down for a couple weeks. I don't think he would like hearing that message. Now, other injuries that we're watching, of course, tackle. It seemed like things were going in the right direction last week. Then Jack Conklin comes up with a hamstring injury. Jed Wills gets that knee run into. DeJuan Jones seemed to struggle with his injury. Mary Kay, the Browns elevated a tackle today. And again, we're just sort of playing the waiting game to see how all of this goes over the course of the week.
That's right. The tackle situation for the Cleveland Browns has been a mess. And we actually thought they were okay on one side of the line with DeJuan Jones, but he's not okay either, coming back from his own torn MCL. And so it's really been very challenging. Jed and Jack did not practice today. Hudson was out there, DeJuan Jones was out there, so they will field an offensive line. And of course, Wyatt Teller went on IR today, at least for the next 4 weeks.
Yeah, Ashley, they're kind of cobbling this together, but it would really help if Jack can get over this hamstring quickly. It would help if Jed, maybe that was just a scare and they were being cautious on Sunday, if they can be as close to whole as possible.
It would help, but I did think it was interesting. Kevin Stefanski today did not rule out the possibility of using Joel Bonio at left tackle if they have to. Of course, after those 3 injuries happened in the game on Sunday, Joel was the one who slid over to that left tackle spot in the midst of all that O-line reconfiguration. And after that point, the Browns only allowed 1 sack. And of course, Deshaun Watson got sacked 8 times in that game. So understandable why it would be an option, although maybe not an ideal option. I did get a chance to talk to Jed Wills today, and he seemed in good spirits for the most part, saying basically that it was a similar hit to when he first got hurt. He knew it wasn't as serious, that it kind of got rolled up on, so to speak, and he tweaked it, was the words he used, and that he's trying to play on Sunday in week 4. He's going to try to practice later in this week if all goes according to plan.
Now, we also heard from Deshaun Watson today, and Mary Kay, of course, he addressed all those hits. He addressed this offense. He also addressed that screenshot that has been going around that showed Jordan Akins open on an RPO on 4th and 1. Deshaun decided to scramble instead and was stopped short. So he got into a lot of different topics today. What stood out to you?
Well, that certainly was one of the items, and it went viral a little bit on the internet when he said that Jordan Akins was a decoy on that play, trying to explain what happened there. But everyone seems to be using that play as Exhibit A for the fact that Deshaun Watson just isn't seeing the field this season. So he had some things to say about that. As I mentioned, he said that Akins was a decoy on that play, and that it's not always what it seems. So he's embattled right now. He's taking the heat for what's going on in the passing game, and we'll just have to see how this goes as they move forward.
Yeah, Ashley, screenshot Twitter can be a dangerous place sometimes, and it certainly is getting Deshaun Watson in this case to the point where he did decide to sort of lay out what happened, or at least what he thought happened on that play.
Yeah, I mean, again, it can be tough, I think, to look at just a screenshot and even like to watch film from a game or rewatch a game and figure out what the play call was, what the reads were, which direction the play was supposed to go. So I think it's understandable because that has really been making the rounds after that game on Sunday that he wanted to set the record straight.
Okay, we will have full coverage of everything that happened here in Berea. It's all at cleveland.com/Browns.